Welcome. You found your way to Boring Science for Sleep, a quiet corner of the universe where science speaks slowly and curiosity is allowed to drift off mid-sentence. Before we begin, go ahead and tell me, if you'd like, what time is it for you right now, and where are you listening from? I love knowing who's sharing this quiet with me. Whether it's midnight in Rome or 3 a.m. in Tennessee, you're not alone here. And if this story helps you find sleep tonight, feel free to subscribe so I can read to you again another evening whenever the world feels too awake. Now, let's begin with something simple. A yawn. Maybe you've felt one coming already. That soft tug behind your eyes. The weight settling in your limbs. The day is loosening its grip. And something ancient, patient, is calling you back to stillness. But just before you drift too far, a question arrives. Why do we sleep? It's so normal, so daily, that we rarely pause to ask. But isn't it strange? You lie down, you close your eyes, and for hours, you are completely gone. You don't move much. You don't respond to the world. You give yourself over to something you can't control. And yet, if you wake up, alive, repaired, strangely new. So, what is this thing we do every night, without really choosing it? Why does your body require it? Even when there's too much to do, even when you resist it with screens and caffeine, even when life is loud, sleep waits, patient, persistent, like a tide. You can try to outrun it, but eventually, it catches you in its arms. And maybe that's not failure. Maybe that's design. Tonight, we won't fight it. We'll follow it. Not with alarms or journals, not with urgency, but with softness and science told slowly. We'll explore how sleep is written into your cells, how your brain waves rise and fall like tides, how memory is shaped in the dark. We'll wander through dreaming, through repair, through the deep rhythms that carry you even when you're not awake to feel them. Because sleep isn't time lost. It's time returned to yourself, to your breath, to the parts of you that don't ask for attention, but need your rest to function at all. So breathe. Let your jaw loosen. Let your shoulders fall. You don't need to understand everything. You don't need to stay awake for the ending. Just stay with me for a little while, as long as your eyes will let you. This is Boring Science for Sleep. And tonight, we're following the oldest lullaby there is, the mystery of why we sleep. Let's go back. Farther than memory, farther than fire, farther than language or tools, back to a time before clocks, before beds, before anything had a name. And even then, the sleep was there, a rhythm, a pause, a deep, ancient stillness that drifted through every living thing. You see, sleep is not something humans invented. It's not a habit or a luxury. It is one of the oldest instincts on Earth. Even the simplest creatures feel it. The urge to stop, to dim, to let go. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the ocean floor. No Sunday, no noise, just cold water and shifting sand. Down here lives the jellyfish, a creature without a brain, without bones, without language. And yet, jellyfish sleep. They pulse more slowly at night. They drift instead of moving. And if disturbed, they react more sluggishly, just like you do when someone turns on the light too early. They are proof that sleep came before thought, before dreams, before neurons even fired in sequence. Sleep is not a sign of complexity. It is a foundation. Climb higher now, out of the ocean, onto land, into the forests, the plains, the cities. Everywhere you look, creatures sleep. Fruit flies, turtles, lions. parrots, frogs, whales. You? Some curl up in burrows, some float mid-ocean, some hang upside down, some sleep with one eye open, literally, because the need for sleep is universal. But the way it happens is endlessly creative. Dolphins, for example, have mastered a strange trick. They sleep with half their brain at a time. The left side sleeps, while the right stays awake to watch for predators and to remember to breathe. Then they switch, left awake, right asleep, back and forth, a rhythm even more delicate than yours. But still, sleep. Birds can do it too, especially when flying in long migrations. They enter micronaps, just a few seconds of shutdown, while their wings keep gliding and their flock stays in formation. Even in the air, they rest. Sleep finds a way. And then there's the elephant, largest land animal, with a brain bigger than your whole head. How much do you think it sleeps? A long, regal nap beneath the trees? Not quite. Wild elephants sleep less than 3 hours a day. Sometimes even standing. They store energy differently. They nap lightly, always half listening for danger. And yet, when allowed to feel safe, when given shelter and calm, they lie down. They enter REM sleep. They dream. Even giants need stillness. From microbes to mammals, sleep is stitched into biology, like breathing, like heartbeat, like the tides pulled by the moon. But why? What makes sleep so important that nearly every living thing, even the vulnerable ones, take the risk of going still? Because sleep is not just a break. It's not off. It's different. It is a protected state where the body does things it can't do while awake. Repair, reset, reorganize. A time when systems unplug from outside noise and turn inward. It is restorative risk, the gamble every creature makes, because the cost of not sleeping is worse. In labs, scientists have deprived animals of sleep, not as cruelty, but as inquiry. What happens when a creature is never allowed to rest? The results are haunting. Cognitive function collapses. Immune systems weaken. Eventually, systems fail entirely. Sleep isn't optional. It's not wasted time. It is essential maintenance, like a bridge that must close each night to be inspected, a garden that needs nighttime to grow. Even plants have rhythms that echo sleep, not in the same way. No eyes to close, no dreams to chase, but they have circadian cycles. They fold leaves, change chemistry, store energy at night, and bloom in response to morning light. They too obey the pull of the dark. And perhaps that's the heart of it all. Sleep is not about shutting down. It's about tuning in, to the inner work, to the secret cycles, to the whispering intelligence within your own cells. Across the tree of life, from the humblest worm to the tallest giraffe, life has chosen to stop in order to continue. A pause that protects, a stillness that strengthens. And you, in your soft bed, in your quiet hour, you are part of that lineage. The yawn rising behind your eyes is not laziness. It is inheritance. So breathe now. Let the rhythm catch you. You are not falling behind. You are falling in line with something ancient and wise. This need for sleep, it's not weakness. It's biology's lullaby, and you are right on time. It starts slowly, not with a snap or a fall, but with a soft shift, like clouds thickening over a warm afternoon. One moment, you're reading, or scrolling, or just staring at the ceiling, thinking about something you can't quite remember. And then, a blur, a blink that lingers just a little too long, a breath that deepens without being asked. Something inside you begins to turn down the lights. Your body is not guessing, it is responding to cycles, to chemistry, to rhythms older than language. Every day, a slow, silent dance takes place inside you, governed by a clock you never set. A master clock tucked in the base of your brain, called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. Just a cluster of neurons, no bigger than a grain of rice, nestled in your hypothalamus. But it runs the show. It knows what time it is, even when you don't. This master clock keeps you on a 24-hour cycle. Your circadian rhythm, circa meaning around, dian meaning day. Your body runs on the memory of the Sunday. When light hits your eyes in the morning, it sends a signal to this inner clock. Day has begun, and that signal sets everything else in motion. Hormones, body temperature, heart rate, alertness, and as the sun disappears and light fades from your eyes, the opposite message arrives. Night has come. Prepare. But preparing for sleep isn't just about yawning. It's biochemical, a slow layering of molecules, like blankets, one on top of another. One of the first is adenosine. This chemical builds in your brain the longer you're awake. It's a byproduct of activity, a sign that your neurons have been working. The more adenosine builds, the sleepier you feel. It's your brain's way of saying, "We've done enough today." And then, as the evening settles in, another player arrives. Melatonin. You may have heard of melatonin as a sleep supplement, a pill in a bottle on the pharmacy shelf. But your body makes it naturally. Your pineal gland, a tiny pinecone-shaped organ deep in your brain, releases melatonin as daylight disappears. Not to make you fall asleep instantly, but to open the door. Melatonin is not a hammer. It is a dimmer switch. It tells your body, "Quiet now. Something softer is coming." Your temperature begins to drop. Your heart rate slows. Your thoughts start to drift. The lights are fading. But how does the brain actually switch states? After all, being awake and being asleep are very different experiences. You don't just close your eyes. You cross a threshold, and that crossing is managed by a delicate interplay between two opposing systems. On one side, your arousal network, the part of your brain that keeps you awake, focused, alert. It's driven by neurotransmitters like norepinephrine, histamine, and acetylcholine. It loves morning light, caffeine, novelty, urgency. On the other side, your sleep-promoting network, anchored in areas like the ventrolateral preoptic nucleus. This part releases GABA, a calming neurotransmitter, which begins to inhibit the arousal system. It's not a war, it's a seesaw. And when the time is right, and melatonin has done its work, and adenosine has made its plea, and GABA has whispered to the rest of the brain, the balance tips, the arousal system quiets, the sleep network takes over, and you begin to cross. This shift isn't instant. It's more like descending into water, layer by layer, sensation by sensation. You start to lose track of time, then space, then the edges of your own body. Muscles relax, eyelids grow heavier, your thoughts untangle, and somewhere between one breath and the next, you're no longer trying to sleep. You're sleeping. Your brain knows what to do. It begins cycling through sleep stages, light sleep, deep sleep, REM, each with its own rhythm, its own signature. But we'll explore those stages later. For now, just know this: falling asleep is not passive. It is active surrender. Your brain doesn't shut off. It reconfigures. It pulls you inward, away from the noise, into a state where other kinds of work can begin. Work you never notice, but can't live without. And sometimes, this delicate switch gets stuck. maybe because of stress or too much light, or a racing mind that won't dim itself. That's when sleep becomes slippery. Your body wants to shift, but the balance is off. Too much arousal, not enough GABA. Too much blue light telling your brain that day hasn't ended. Sleep waits, but doesn't come. Even then, your body is trying, the clock is still ticking, the dimmer is still reaching for the dark. So tonight, as you lie still, maybe you'll notice it happening. That slow glide downward. That moment when your arms feel heavier than you remember. When the fan hum becomes a lullaby. When the world starts to slip through your fingers and you let it. That's not you being lazy. That's your biology doing its most ancient job. Changing states. Switching gears. Tuning the entire orchestra from action to rest. You don't need to help it. You only need to allow it. Breathe, close your eyes, and trust that the switch will find you. It always does. Sleep is not one thing. It may feel like a single quiet river, a gentle current that carries you from dusk to dawn, but under the surface, the water moves in waves. Slow, fast, looping, changing. Your brain doesn't simply turn off when you sleep. It shifts patterns. It rewires itself across the night in rhythmic stages, and each one has its own purpose, its own texture, its own music. Tonight, let's float through those waves, not to analyze, but to listen, to feel the hush of the brain at rest and the quiet genius of the mind asleep. It begins with stage 1. This is the borderland, a threshold between wakefulness and sleep. Light, fleeting, easily broken. Your muscles twitch. Your thoughts flicker. You might feel like you're falling, or hear your name whispered in silence. Your brain produces theta waves now, gentle, slow pulses that replace the sharp chatter of wakefulness. If someone called your name, you might still hear it. You could wake easily, but the switch has already begun. You're no longer here. You're drifting. Then, without fanfare, you slip into stage 2. This is where you spend most of your night. Not dreaming, not deeply gone, but truly, steadily asleep. Your body temperature drops. Your heart slows. Your breathing becomes smooth and even. And inside your brain, something beautiful begins. Short bursts of activity called sleep spindles flash across your neurons. Tiny electric storms, like fireflies blinking in the dark. They protect your sleep, blocking out sounds, sensations, distractions. Alongside them, K-complexes appear, sudden spikes of voltage, as if the brain is saying, "Yes, I heard that, but I'm staying asleep." Stage 2 is sleep's gentle armor. Soft, steady, shielding. Then, slowly, you descend into stage 3, deep sleep, also known as slow wave sleep. This is the quietest place in the brain. Here, your brain waves become long and lazy, delta waves, rolling like ocean swells. They come just a few times per second, heavy, healing. This is the stage where the body repairs itself, tissues regrow, muscles recover. The immune system fortifies. Children release growth hormone here. Wounds knit back together. Cells clean house. It's a kind of sacred labor, done in total silence. If someone tried to wake you now, it would be hard. You'd feel groggy, as if pulled from the bottom of a lake. But that depth is vital. Without deep sleep, the body begins to fray. And then, after about 60 to 90 minutes, something odd happens. Your brain begins to rise. Not into wakefulness, but into a different kind of sleep. You enter REM, rapid eye movement sleep. Here, the brain becomes strangely active again. almost as if it's awake. Your eyes dart beneath closed lids. Your heart rate rises. Your breathing becomes irregular. And most notably, you begin to dream. REM sleep is unlike anything else. Your muscles are paralyzed, a safety feature, so you don't act out your dreams, but your mind is alive. It weaves stories, tests memories, replays emotions, creates nonsense, and sometimes clarity. Dreams don't always make sense, but REM sleep plays a crucial role in your mental health. It helps you process feelings, strengthen memories, rehearse possibilities. It is the night's theatre. Private, strange, healing. Your brain cycles through these stages. 1, 2, 3, REM, again and again throughout the night. Each cycle lasts about 90 minutes, and across the night, the pattern shifts. In early sleep, you spend more time in deep, slow-wave sleep. Your body is rebuilding, fortifying, but later in the night, REM sleep dominates. Your dreams stretch longer. Your brain becomes more active. It's as if the body heals first, and the mind comes later to wander, to feel, to release. And though these cycles are ancient and automatic, they are also fragile. Disruption from stress, light, noise, illness can shorten deep sleep, fragment REM, cut cycles short. That's why uninterrupted sleep is so precious. It's not about how long you sleep. It's about how well you cycle. And tonight, your body remembers how. Even now, as you lie still, your brain is preparing to dance in waves, in stages, in silence. You don't need to understand every detail. You don't need to count your cycles. Just know your brain is wise. It knows when to descend and when to rise, when to mend and when to dream. Sleep is not one shape. It is many. A tide, a spiral, a layered hum beneath your thoughts. So if you wake in the middle of the night and feel strange or disoriented, to know this: you are not broken. You are mid-cycle, still turning. Sleep is not a single line. It loops, it circles, it sways, and you are floating gently within it. Each wave deeper than the last. Each stage a different kind of quiet, and all of it designed to keep you whole. The body sleeps, but the brain does not go dark. In fact, while you drift deeper, while your limbs grow heavy and your eyes stop seeing, your brain begins its quiet shift into something else entirely. Not rest, but restoration. Not silence, but housekeeping. Like a library after closing time, when the lights dim, the readers vanish, and soft footsteps begin to move through the stacks. Books are returned to their shelves. Dust is swept from corners. Records are filed, notes are erased, and the building prepares for another day. Your brain does this too, every night, without ever asking for thanks. Imagine, if you will, your mind as a city. In daylight, it's bustling. Cars honk, people talk, screens glow, neurons fire. Every second, sensations arrive. Memories form. Emotions rise. Plans unfold. You navigate, react, remember. But even a city has to clean itself. Take out the trash, wash the windows, clear the streets. And unlike your kitchen floor or inbox, your brain doesn't wait for permission. It simply waits for sleep. One of the most remarkable things your brain does at night is wash itself. That's not a metaphor. It's literal. While you sleep, a system called the glymphatic system, a cousin to your body's lymphatic system, becomes active. Tiny channels open between your brain cells, allowing cerebrospinal fluid to flow in, like gentle waves rinsing through neural alleys. This fluid carries away waste products, excess proteins, dead cell fragments, leftover byproducts from the day's thoughts. Among them is beta amyloid, a sticky protein associated with Alzheimer's disease when it builds up. During sleep, especially deep sleep, these molecules are flushed away. You could call it brain hygiene. Sleep doesn't just make you feel clearer. It makes you clearer, but cleaning is only part of it. While the physical brain is being rinsed and restored, the memory networks are hard at work, organizing, editing, choosing. Throughout the day, you gather moments. Some are loud, conversations, facts, feelings. Others are soft, the color of a flower you didn't realize you noticed, the angle of someone's smile, the sentence that stayed with you. Your brain doesn't store all of it. That would be too much. Instead, during sleep, it sifts. It decides what to keep, what to strengthen, and what to quietly let go. This process happens across sleep stages. In deep sleep, your brain replays patterns, reactivating neural pathways that were used during learning. It's like saving a file after editing. The information is reinforced. In REM sleep, the brain connects ideas. It shuffles memories, links distant thoughts, runs little emotional simulations. That's why REM is so important for creativity and emotional processing. You may wake from a dream confused, but your brain knows what it was doing. It was filing your day, tidying your story. Not perfectly, but gently. And it's not just memory. Your brain uses sleep to update your internal models of the world. It tunes expectations, resets attention filters, adjusts emotional responses. That thing that bothered you this morning may feel smaller tomorrow, not because the world changed, but because your brain recalibrated while you slept. You've likely felt it. A problem that felt enormous at midnight becomes manageable by morning. That's not just time passing. That's the work of a brain, rebooted in the quiet hours. Even the parts of your brain that deal with your sense of self rest and reconfigure during sleep. Your default mode network, a collection of regions active when your mind is wandering, shifts patterns. It becomes quieter in deep sleep, then flares in REM. Some researchers think this might be why dreams feel so personal, so tied to your identity and memory. Your mind, even at rest, is still practicing being you. Of course, all of this happens invisibly. You don't feel the rinse of the glymphatic tide. You don't hear the shuffle of memory cards. You don't notice the updates to your emotional software. You simply lie there, still, soft, sleeping, and your brain works. In the dark, without noise, without effort. Just quiet labor, delicate recalibration, invisible repair. When you wake, you may not remember your dreams. You may feel groggy. You may not feel different, but your brain knows. It has done what it needed to do. The thoughts are cleaner. The feelings are steadier. The paths are clearer. Sleep is not idleness. It is invisible maintenance. And without it, the system begins to strain. This is why chronic sleep loss affects more than your energy. It clouds memory, blunts attention, fogs emotion, even raises risk for neurological disease. It's not just about being tired. It's about not being cleaned, not being reorganized, not being given the time to heal from the act of thinking. So tonight, as you drift deeper into the rhythm, know that your brain is doing what it's always done, turning off the outside world so it can turn inward. Not because it's broken, but because it cares. And in that soft glow behind your dreams, you are being restored, one gentle cycle at a time. Your eyes are closed. Your thoughts are floating, and your mind has begun to drift elsewhere. But your body has just started its shift. You see, while you sleep, your body is not shutting down. It's changing gears. You've handed over the keys, and now the overnight crew arrives, silent, steady, and unseen. Tissues, hormones, cells, each begins its repair. Each begins its song. This is the repair shift, and it only begins when you let go. Let's start with your muscles. They've carried you through the day, through every step, every reach, every frown, every laugh. Even stillness asks something of them. Tiny tears form in your fibers, not from damage, but from living. And while you sleep, especially during deep, slow-wave sleep, your body begins the restoration. Protein synthesis increases. New cells begin to form. Damaged ones are replaced. Think of it like weaving. Each night, your body knits itself back together, strand by strand, fiber by fiber, so that when you wake, you're whole again. Next, your immune system. By day, it's busy standing guard, fending off invaders, flagging threats, scanning the bloodstream for signs of trouble. But by night, it goes deeper. Sleep allows immune cells like T cells and natural killer cells to regroup, to multiply, to circulate more freely. Inflammation is regulated. Cytokines rise and fall in just the right pattern. Even vaccines are more effective when you're well rested. Your body doesn't just fight illness better with sleep. It remembers better too, training immune memory like a muscle. So while you dream, your body defends, quietly, faithfully. And what about your hormones? They too follow the night. Your growth hormone surges during deep sleep, not just for children, but for everyone. It's what rebuilds tissues, strengthens bones, supports metabolism. Meanwhile, cortisol, the stress hormone, falls. Your system cools. The alarms go silent. Other hormones shift too. Leptin, which helps you feel full, rises. Ghrelin, which makes you feel hungry, falls. Which means sleep affects your appetite. Ever notice how a sleepless night leads to stronger cravings the next day? That's your hormones, off rhythm, trying to rebalance without their nightly reset. Your body needs sleep, not just to rest, but to regulate. Deeper still, your heart and blood vessels. As you fall asleep, your blood pressure lowers, your heart rate slows. The vascular system relaxes. This nightly dip, known as nocturnal dipping, gives your cardiovascular system a chance to recover from the day's strain. It's like pulling your foot off the gas, letting the engine cool. And without that dip, if your sleep is too short, too fragmented, the heart begins to work overtime, day after day, year after year, which is why good sleep is tied to heart health, not abstractly, but directly. Your heartbeat thanks you for every hour of rest. Even your skin changes at night. Blood flow increases. Cell turnover accelerates. Wounds begin to heal more quickly. That phrase, beauty sleep? It's not just poetic. Your skin truly does repair while you sleep. Collagen is built. Inflammation fades. New cells replace the old. And in the morning, your skin glows a little more softly. Not because of magic, but because your body had the time to tend its outermost layer. And then there's your metabolism. Sleep regulates how your body processes glucose, how it stores energy, how it balances insulin. Deprive yourself of sleep, and the body begins to misread signals, storing fat when it shouldn't, raising blood sugar when it doesn't need to. It's not about weight, it's about harmony. Sleep keeps the orchestra of organs playing in tune. Without it, the tempo breaks, and your body begins to tire. in ways that coffee cannot fix. All of this, the muscle repair, the hormone regulation, the immune recalibration, the heart's exhale, the skin's quiet renewal. None of it feels like anything. You don't sense the cells dividing. You don't feel your heart slowing. You don't hear your immune system circulating in silence. But it's happening. Every night. Like clockwork. Your body does not sleep to disappear. It sleeps to become itself again. Think of it like this. Your waking hours are for use. Movement, decision, action. Your sleeping hours are for maintenance. Polishing, resetting, repairing. You are both machine and garden. And each night, your body tends to itself, quietly pruning, gently watering, silently strengthening. You don't have to do anything. Just let the repair crew clock in. So tonight, as you lie still and heavy, let go of the urge to do. The body knows its duties. It doesn't need your mind to manage it. You've handed over the shift. The night team has arrived. And they're already at work. No checklist. No report. Just soft rhythms and cells that remember how to heal. The body lies still, breathing soft. Limbs quiet. Muscles deeply relaxed, as if melted into the mattress. And then, beneath closed lids, your eyes begin to move. Not slowly, but darting, side to side, flickering like they're watching something only they can see. This is REM sleep. Rapid eye movement. A stage unlike any other. Strange, beautiful, and still not fully understood. You cycle through REM several times each night. It first appears about 90 minutes after you fall asleep and grows longer with each return. By early morning, REM sleep dominates your final hours of rest. It's when you dream the most. Not the quiet, floating thoughts of light sleep, but vivid scenes, conversations, adventures, fears, impossible images your mind accepts as real. And then, you wake, and much of it vanishes like mist. But the effects? Those stay. REM sleep is one of biology's quiet mysteries. Your brain becomes active, nearly as active as when you're awake, but your body becomes paralyzed. Yes, atonia takes over. Your voluntary muscles shut down, so you don't act out your dreams. Your body protects you from yourself. Only the essentials remain. Eye movements, breathing, heartbeat, and of course, the storm inside your skull. During REM, your brain processes emotions. Your limbic system, especially the amygdala, the seat of fear and emotion, lights up, which may be why dreams feel intense, dramatic, or cathartic. It's not always random. Your brain is working through something. Memory. Not just storing facts, but integrating emotional memory. Connecting dots between experiences. Making meaning. Creativity. The prefrontal cortex, the part that edits, organizes, and reasons, quiets down. Without its oversight, ideas can mix freely. That's why strange things can happen in dreams. A train turns into a hallway. A stranger becomes your sister. The moon falls into your hand. And it makes sense. In REM, the mind is playing, not idly, but with purpose. Dream researchers sometimes call REM overnight therapy. You relive things, not to be haunted, but to reduce the sting. Painful experiences become less painful. Angry memories soften. You don't erase them. You process them. One study found that emotional experiences that provoked a physical response, like increased heart rate or pupil dilation, became less reactive after a full night's sleep, especially REM. It's as if the brain says, yes, that was real. Yes, it hurt. But you're safe now. And by morning, you believe it just a little more. There's also a theory. not yet proven, but quietly elegant, that REM is a kind of neural rehearsal. For infants who spend 50% of their sleep in REM, it may help wire their developing brains. It's as if the mind is practicing life before it has to live it. For adults, REM may continue that simulation, preparing for challenges, solving problems, testing versions of ourselves. You may not remember what you dreamed, but your brain remembers the pathways. And yet, REM remains elusive. We still don't know why some dreams feel like memories and others feel like fantasy. Why nightmares repeat. Why some people dream vividly and others barely at all. Why you forget most of your dreams within seconds. Or why certain dreams cling for decades. What we do know is this. When REM sleep is disrupted by illness, by substances, by chronic stress, mood worsens. Learning falters. Mental health begins to slip. REM may be mysterious, but it is essential. Curiously, animals dream too. At least, some of them. Watch a sleeping dog twitch its paws. A cat's whiskers flutter. Eyes move beneath fur. These are not just reflexes. They're signs of REM, the dreaming stage. We don't know what they see. We may never know. But they too carry emotions. They too process their world. In that way, dreaming connects us, not just to memory or creativity, but to all creatures who sleep. Sometimes, you might wake from a dream with your heart racing, or with tears drying on your cheeks, or with a sudden clarity, as if a truth just whispered its name to you. It may fade. That's okay. Dreams aren't made to be held. They're made to move you, like waves in the dark, like messages in a bottle, sent from deep within to the shore of your morning. So tonight, if you dream, let it happen. Don't chase meaning. Don't cling too hard. Let your mind wander the silent landscapes it builds. Let it stitch your emotions back together with light and shadow. Let it rehearse, release, reset. You may never remember what played behind your eyes, but your brain will remember how to be whole. And that, quietly, might be the point. Even now, as your eyelids grow heavier and your thoughts begin to melt into quiet shapes, something inside you is still ticking. A clock, not made of metal or gears, not on your wrist or glowing by your bedside, but deep in your brain, silent, steady, relentless. This is your circadian rhythm, the body's own 24-hour script. It tells your cells when to wake, when to sleep, when to repair, when to rest. And it does this without ever asking for permission. The word circadian comes from Latin, circa meaning about, and diem, day. About a day. Your body doesn't follow the sun directly, but it runs close to it, like a dancer beside a spotlight. And at the heart of it all is a tiny bundle of neurons in your brain, the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or SCN. It lives just above the place where your optic nerves cross, which makes sense, because light, sunlight, is its guide. Each morning, when your eyes detect light, a signal is sent straight to the SCN, and like a conductor lifting a baton, it cues your systems to begin. Cortisol rises gently to wake you. Body temperature starts to climb. Melatonin, the sleep hormone, fades into the shadows. You might think of it as your internal sunrise, even if you never look outside. Your body knows. The clock is set. And as day turns to night, light fades, signals shift. Melatonin rises again, like fog from the forest floor. You may yawn without thinking, stretch without knowing why, feel your limbs become a little heavier. This is your internal sunset, the quiet pull toward rest. Even artificial light can't silence it completely. though it can confuse it, which is why screens at midnight can make you feel stuck in a false noon, and why a single camping trip, one without phones or bulbs, can reset a tired rhythm in just a few days. The circadian rhythm isn't just about sleep. It orchestrates nearly every biological system. Your liver knows what time it is. So does your skin, your heart, even your digestive enzymes. There are clock genes in your DNA, molecules that rise and fall in a predictable dance every 24 hours. They're not just responding to the world, they're keeping time. You are, in a very real way, a creature made of rhythms. Some rhythms are big, like sleep and wakefulness, but others are subtle. Your body temperature dips around 4 a.m. Your alertness peaks in late morning. Reaction time is sharpest in the afternoon. Muscle strength hits its highest point around early evening. And after that, the curtain falls again. Your day isn't just one long slope. It's a wave, rising and falling, in a pattern written before you were born. You don't always feel it, but it's always there. And yet, not every clock ticks in sync. Some people are morning larks, ready to soar before the world stirs. Others are night owls, restless until the stars are high. It's not laziness, not discipline, it's biology. Your chronotype, your natural sleep-wake preference, is partly genetic. The modern world tries to flatten this. School bells ring early. Meetings start at 9. The rhythm of society favors the early. But the rhythm of your body may hum to a different tune. And that's okay. Disrupt the rhythm too much, though, and the consequences echo deeply. Shift workers, those who work nights or irregular hours, often struggle with sleep, mood, metabolism, immunity. Jet lag is a mini version of that disruption. You land in a new time zone, but your cells haven't arrived yet. They're still ticking to the old schedule, sending melatonin when it's bright out, making you alert in the middle of the night. It takes time to realign, because the body doesn't jump to new time zones. It drifts toward them, gently, deliberately, like water finding its new level. There's something comforting about knowing your body is keeping time, even when you're unaware. When you feel lost in the week, when everything feels off-kilter, sometimes it's just your rhythm asking to be heard. More light in the morning, less at night. Consistent sleep and wake times. Simple things, but powerful. You don't need to hack your biology. You just need to honor it. Give it structure, and it will sing. And so, as the minutes pass now, and the night deepens outside your window, know this: your rhythm is holding you, like a cradle woven from light and dark. You were meant to sleep now, and everything inside you agrees. Your body knows the way. It's walked this path every day, every life, every species. Sleep is not interruption, it's integration. It's your clock striking home. You may think sleep is the same every night, the same slow drift, the same quiet dark. But really, sleep evolves. It grows with you, and sometimes it outgrows you too. From the first breath to the final yawn, sleep is a shapeshifter, adjusting itself to the body it serves. It bends to growth, to hormones, to age, to need. Let's walk through the rhythm of a life, seen only by the eyes closed in rest. A newborn doesn't know day or night. They sleep in fragments, 2 hours here, 3 hours there. Not because they're unruly, but because their tiny bodies are writing themselves. A baby may sleep 16 to 18 hours a day, but it's scattered, chaotic, dream-heavy. Half of that sleep is REM. Their brains, new and tender, are laying tracks in real time. Each flicker of the eye, each breath in slumber, might be a synapse forming, a memory sealing, a world being built inside. They're not just resting, they're becoming. By age 3, sleep starts to take shape. Naps shrink, night sleep expands, and slow-wave sleep, the deepest, most restorative kind, dominates the night. Growth hormone surges during these hours. Bones lengthen, muscles form, tissues repair. This is why children fall asleep mid-sentence, why they sleep through storms, why they grow overnight. Their sleep is strong, and their dreams are vivid. Bedtime becomes a ritual, a signal to the brain, it's time to reset. And so they do, again and again, until their bodies stretch too fast for their own pajamas. Then comes adolescence, and the rhythm changes. Teens aren't lazy. Their internal clocks genuinely shift later. They become biologically programmed to fall asleep around midnight and to wake up around 8 or 9. School doesn't always agree, so they live in a kind of permanent jet lag, chasing sleep on weekends, dragging through weekdays. Sleep also becomes more emotionally charged. REM intensifies. Dreams become more symbolic, more layered with identity and feeling. This is when sleep stops being simple and starts becoming personal. In early adulthood, the body settles into a familiar rhythm. 7 to 9 hours becomes the norm. But adulthood also brings interference. Work, parenting, stress, screens, late-night thoughts. You begin to trade sleep for life, and it feels doable until it's not. Sleep debt creeps in, not all at once, but like sand filling your shoes. Slow-wave sleep begins to decline. Not drastically yet, but enough that you wake more often or feel less refreshed. REM too changes. Shortened, disrupted, sometimes squeezed into early morning hours. Adulthood is the time when you must choose to protect your sleep, because the world won't do it for you. As you move into your 62nd, 72nd, and beyond, sleep changes again. It becomes lighter. You may wake more during the night, for the bathroom, for a sound, for no reason at all. Deep sleep becomes scarcer. REM can still be rich, but the boundaries blur. Dreams mix with wakefulness. Naps return. You may sleep less at night, but your total sleep over 24 hours stays steady, just spread out differently. The circadian rhythm may shift earlier, so sleepiness comes at 8 p.m. and waking arrives at 4 or 5 a.m. This isn't dysfunction, it's transition. Your body needs less, but it still needs some. And the quality of sleep, calmness, continuity matters more than ever. Despite all this variation, some things stay beautifully the same. Every human, at every age, passes through stages of sleep. Even if the proportions shift, every brain, regardless of age, needs time to forget, to consolidate, to heal. Everybody, whether tiny and new or old and aching, relies on sleep to tune the instruments of life. And dreams, those strange whispers in the dark, visit everyone, from the baby who cries out mid-REM to the elder who smiles in their sleep. We are all dreamers. Sleep is not one thing. It is many things, shaped by time. And just like time, it doesn't move backward. You can't sleep like a child again, but you can sleep well and deeply in the body you have today. Sometimes we resist change. We wish sleep were what it once was. But just as your hair grays, your joints soften, your voice deepens, your sleep becomes the elder it was always meant to be. Wiser, simpler, enough. So if you've ever thought, I used to sleep so well, what happened to me? Remember, you didn't fail sleep. You grew past one version of it, and there's still rest ahead. Soft, safe, suited to who you are now. Let yourself receive it. Let yourself adjust. As trees adjust to seasons, as rivers shift their paths, sleep is not gone. It's just wearing a different face tonight, and it still knows how to hold you. There's a quiet librarian in your brain, one who only works at night. She doesn't speak. She doesn't wear shoes. She tiptoes through your thoughts while you sleep, sorting, filing, gently sweeping the dust from your day. You never see her, but you always feel her work. Sleep is not just rest. It is organization, integration, emotional maintenance. It is a kind of therapy that happens every single night, whether you remember your dreams or not. So let's lie still for a while and visit the shelves inside your mind. When you go to sleep, your brain doesn't go dark. It lights up, not all at once, but in waves, and each wave brings with it a different kind of care. Early in the night, your brain sinks into deep, slow-wave sleep. This is when it begins its cleanup. Imagine a gentle vacuum moving through your neural corridors, clearing debris, washing away leftover signals, resetting synapses that were overloaded. It's called the glymphatic system, a kind of nighttime rinse cycle for your brain. Cerebrospinal fluid flows more freely, removing waste products like amyloid beta, the same sticky protein linked to Alzheimer's. You might think nothing's happening, but in that silence, your brain is protecting your future self. Then, as the night progresses, you drift into REM sleep. This is where the emotional work begins. Your brain revisits memories, but with less judgment. The amygdala, the emotional alarm bell, is more active. And yet, something strange happens. You replay difficult experiences, but without the full sting, without the panic, as if your brain is trying to repackage the pain into something survivable. This is emotional processing, a kind of dream therapy, where your feelings are refiled into less volatile shapes. That awkward moment from the meeting? Softened. That burst of anxiety in the grocery aisle? Filed away. That overwhelming joy from a friend's message? Saved for later. You're not just dreaming, you're healing. And here's the secret. Your brain decides what memories to keep and which to let go while you sleep. Memories don't just arrive in perfect form. They're fragile at first, unstable, held together like a stack of leaves on a breezy table. Sleep stabilizes them, strengthens the important ones, releases the ones that no longer serve. In one study, people who learned new skills, like finger tapping a piano pattern, improved more after a full night's sleep than those who stayed awake. The brain had practiced for them silently. In another study, emotional memories, especially fearful ones, were less distressing after REM sleep. The feeling was preserved, but the threat had faded. Sleep, then, is a kind of sculptor, shaving off the sharp edges, leaving behind a smoother version of the day before. When sleep is healthy, your mind feels clear, memories stick, feelings flow, thoughts don't repeat themselves as much. The world feels slightly more navigable. But when sleep is broken, even a little, the scaffolding collapses. You forget what you were saying. You cry over nothing. You snap at a loved one, then wonder why you feel hollow inside. Sleep loss magnifies emotion, not just sadness, but irritation, insecurity, and even joy. It stretches feelings out of proportion. Your brain can no longer regulate itself. It becomes reactive, less reflective, more like a drum that rattles with the lightest touch. And over time, this imbalance grows. People who experience chronic sleep deprivation are more likely to face anxiety, depression, and cognitive decline. Insomnia and mood disorders are deeply entwined. They feed each other. One night of bad sleep can heighten anxiety. That anxiety, in turn, disrupts the next night. A loop. Soft at first, then tightening. But here's the beautiful truth. Even partial sleep, a nap, a good night, a stretch of quiet rest, can begin to soothe the nervous system again. Your brain remembers how to feel okay. It just needs time and rest. There's another layer too, the dreams you forget. Some dreams you recall. Others vanish before your first blink. But even forgotten dreams can leave behind a residue of insight, a softened heart, a strange sense that something was worked through. Dreams don't always tell stories. Sometimes they're just symbols, movements, color, a tone in your chest. They are emotional compost, helping yesterday decay into wisdom. So what's happening right now, as you lie here, listening to these words? Your brain is preparing for its shift. The librarian is getting her keys. The lights are dimming. Memories from today are floating upward, some to be saved, some to be released. Emotions are unfolding like paper, smoothed out, ready for understanding. Even as you feel still, your mind is readying for one of its most important jobs, making you whole again. Not by doing more, but by letting go. You don't have to relive everything tonight. Your brain will choose what matters, and it will hold it gently, without asking you to explain. This is the quiet generosity of sleep, the subtle grace. It's not just a pause, it's a repair. So if you've ever thought, I'm too tired to think, you were right, because your thinking comes from the rest that precedes it. You're not broken, you're simply overdue for the library to open, for the shadows to be sorted, for the tide to carry your thoughts back to where they belong. Close your eyes now. If you haven't already, let the thoughts blur. Let the librarian work. Let sleep restore your memory, soften your feelings, and make space for one more gentle tomorrow. There's something we often whisper to ourselves when we're too busy to lie down, too restless to close our eyes. Sleep can wait. It sounds noble, even productive, as if wakefulness is where life happens, and sleep is where life slips by. But tonight, I want to offer you a quieter truth. Sleep isn't lost time. It's held time, a gift you give yourself, again and again, without even remembering how much it gives back. You don't need to earn it. You don't need to fear it. You only need to let go. So let's rest in this idea together. One last soft segment before you drift. Out there, in the bright world of daylight, everything is measured. Your calendar, your steps, your achievements, even your thoughts feel numbered. But sleep asks for nothing. No performance, no outcome, no proof of worth. It simply says, lay down, let the weight fall, let time soften. Let yourself become unimportant so you can return feeling whole. It's easy to forget that nature sleeps too. The moon doesn't shine constantly. The ocean doesn't rise forever. Even stars in their way go quiet when they die. Everything rests. So why do we, the fragile humans, so often resist the stillness? Maybe it's because we fear missing something, or because we associate sleep with weakness, or because we've been told that rest is the opposite of success. But the science says otherwise. Sleep makes you more creative, more focused, more emotionally balanced, more physically resilient. In one study, a nap boosted problem solving better than caffeine. In another, athletes who slept more ran faster, made fewer errors, and felt less pain. Even your heart, beating quietly right now, depends on deep sleep to maintain its rhythm and prevent the wear and tear of stress. The quiet hours are not blank. They're restorative. Microscopic miracles unfold while you lie still. Proteins fold. Tissues heal. Hormones regulate. Immune cells patrol. Even your bones benefit as they rebuild, realign, and silently strengthen. Sleep is your body's version of remembering who it is. And your mind? It's not just dreaming. It's recomposing. Ideas that didn't make sense during the day might link together in the night. Connections emerge. Inspiration stirs. And in the morning, you sometimes wake up with a solution you didn't know you were looking for. All of this, without lifting a finger. But sleep does more than repair. It reminds you that you are more than what you do. You are more than the tasks you finish. More than the messages you answer. More than the expectations that hang like stars over your head. You are a living thing, and living things rest. There's no trophy for staying awake. No medal for pushing through fatigue. There's just a quieter life, a softer one, waiting on the other side of surrender. In this quiet, sleep becomes a kind of trust. You lie down, not knowing exactly what will happen, but believing you will wake whole. You release the day, the thoughts, the failures, the unfinished tasks, the difficult conversations, the doubts. You let them dissolve, not because they're gone, but because they're no longer yours to carry tonight. Sleep is a rhythm of forgiveness, of allowing yourself to begin again. Even dreams, those swirling, strange worlds, often come bearing small messages. You are still thinking, still feeling, still processing, even when you rest. And now, you're here, at the end of this soft science lullaby, not because you finished something, but because you followed something gentle to its natural close. You've walked through starlight and biology, through circadian clocks and emotional rainstorms, through brainwaves and silent healing, and you're still here, breathing, quiet, held as you close your eyes. If you haven't already, know that nothing urgent exists in this moment. No decision must be made. No task must be remembered. No thought must be perfect. Only this, the rising and falling of your breath, the gentle rhythm of a body ready to repair itself. You're not behind. You're not late. You're right on time for your own becoming. And when you wake, whenever that may be, you'll carry something new, a sense of being cared for by something inside yourself you never had to control, only trust. Sleep is not wasted time. It is the time that saves you. So rest well now. Let the thoughts melt. Let the body float. We'll be here again, under another quiet topic, when you're ready to wander into the science of dreams once more. Good night from Boring Science for Sleep. And may you wake just a little more whole than when you closed your eyes.